Here we go again.
You are now tuning in to TNJ Radio Show.
What's good? What's good? Over here getting this set up here. But William A. Thomas here in the building on a wonderful Wednesday. It's over here storming in Pennsylvania. Over here looking like one of them dark and stormy nights. So, but we're going to get into it because we got a lot to talk about tonight. I'm flying solo tonight. We're going to make it happen. Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna let a couple other people get on here. But while we wait on that, I just wanted to share with you guys, man. It's been rough. You know, like a lot of Americans, like put that down. Post-pandemic, pandemic, I've been in a situation where put on a couple extra pounds more than I wanted to, you know, because we was all in the house chilling. They call it lockdown, but during that time for a lot of people, it was lock down those plates of food. So, you know, of course, just like a lot of people, I put on them pandemic pounds, and now's the time to lose it. A lot of people, they usually wait until probably, you know, like the winter time, New Year's, after they done finished their Christmas pie. You know, it's too late then. People, you know, we like to lie to ourselves and think that when the winter time comes around that we're going to really go and work out. No, but I don't want to go out. It's too cold. It's too cold. So, you know, you guys can feel me, right, on that. So what I decided to do is that I'm going to get myself together now. While it's the summer, it's the month of June. It's technically the spring, but you know, June 20th, summer comes around. I'm trying to be ready so that by the time the end of the summer comes around, I could do some of the things that I want to do. So anyway, out of the blue, a friend of mine ended up calling me, my man Josh. He's a well-known you know, speaker, author, but he's also pretty good into his health. And Josh, he said, "Will, I have this new thing. You know, it's a weight loss and health challenge. I want you to be a part of it." I don't know how. I can only attribute it to God. But you know, I said, "All right, I'll definitely do that." You called at the right time. Like, you ever have one of them situations when someone calls about the right thing at the right time? You know, I definitely attribute those things to God. You know, but whatever the case, he said, but here's the thing. In doing this is a lifestyle that I've actually followed. And what you would end up having to do is you'll eat one day and you'll eat 2 days and you'll fast one. And you'll keep doing that same thing over and over again. So I said, cool. All right, cool, Josh. I'm in. But myself, like a lot of people, I have a mindset, right? To where whenever I'm supposed to do something, I say, I don't want to just do it. I want to do it kind of like overkill. So if I'm in, you know, anytime I was in sales, I always said, I want to make $1 million. Anytime there were weight loss competitions, I want to lose, you know, 200 pounds in 1 month. You know, like outrageous stuff like that. That doesn't really, you know, make sense, but it makes me feel good to be able to say it. Because a lot of times, you know, we feel good just off of just saying things and not necessarily doing it. Can everybody hear me? If you can hear me, put a one in the comments. But anyway, so a lot of times we say things that you know, we don't necessarily intend on putting our actions behind it. So I started off and you know, I said, you know what, I'm not going to do 2 days of fast. I'm going to do 3 days of fasting. because I saw the stuff about how the health benefits of the healing and all these things that are going to happen and all this great stuff that's going to happen to me just by fasting and doing this lifestyle change. So cool. I started, and don't you know, I didn't have a single full day of fasting at all. Not one. Now, what I will do is I will give myself props in the sense that what I did do is I've had longer intermittent fasting days. And for those of you that don't know, intermittent fasting, what you're doing is you're shortening the window of time that you're eating. So a lot of people might, instead of eating all day, they might shorten their window to 4, 5, 6, or 7 hours of eating time. And the rest of the time, between you being awake or sleep, you're not eating. So that's your fasting time. So what I will say is I've had about 20 to 22 hours of consistent intermittent fasting. And it's gotten easy to where, 8 o'clock comes around, I'm cool. But what it was like 9 o'clock comes around and hunger's knocking on the door, like, where you at? Or I might have situations like some of you might have seen on Facebook, my sons, they graduated from high school, and then, we're going to the restaurant to go and eat. So I'm like, you got to eat with the family, right? But the truth is, you don't have to. If you're trying to make a change, sometimes you have to be willing to be able to stick to that change to be able to get the results that you want to get. And I had it. So fast forward to today. I am on the road. I haven't eaten anything all day. And after the show, I'm and I'm gonna go to bed after my one day of fasting. So I'm gonna give myself a round of applause. I'm proud of myself for actually doing that. So, with that, let's get on into this, because there's a couple of things I want to talk about. Okay. One of them, obviously, we'll be talking about the assassination attempt on Justice Kavanaugh at the Supreme Court. We're going to also talk about the agenda to destroy America. We're going to talk about one of the Clinton advisors, who committed suicide, Epstein style. His family has blocked the information for release. We're going to talk about the world's strongest economy. And you guys are going to be, pleasantly surprised on who the world's strongest economy is. But, with that, we're going to get right into it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just place the link down, for, if you want to call in and you want to comment on any of these topics, be sure to chime in. But we're going to get right on into it. Now, according to news sources, Hunter Biden, the smartest guy that Joe Biden knows, the infamous guy on the laptop, are they even really reporting on that laptop anymore? It seems like it was just, I don't know, it was just kind of left in the dark. I remember when they first started reporting about the laptop towards the election time in 2020, if you were talking about that laptop, then, you were going to get hit by the fact checkers and, get flagged. Videos, things like that are going to get taken down. All of those things end up happening, but it's been confirmed, obviously, that it's true. And it's been confirmed that, that laptop, which is out there, it's has a lot of interesting things on there. One of the interesting things are that it shows Hunter Biden, the smartest guy that Joe knows. Remember that. He's the smartest guy. So Hunter Biden in the laptop, according to Fox News and other news sources, he's seen in there with a gun, which he's not legally allowed to have a gun at this point. So, do you think that Hunter Biden's going to have any type of repercussions, or is it more so one of them things where the king's kid gets to do pretty much whatever they want? And we all know how it goes. One of the tactics of the left is that whatever you say, whatever we say, we may not do, but you better do that. Because remember, during the whole pandemic, they told us to, wear the mask. They told us to get the vacation. Some of you who are new may not know, but that's code word for something that it rhymes with relaxation. But yeah, they were told to get the vacation, and then apparently a lot of them, for example, one of the pharmaceutical bosses, he had a saline shot that he set up. Imagine that. You are one of the bosses of a vacation provider, right? And you're supposed to believe in this stuff, right? They say that whenever you have a product, you should be your first and best customer, because if you don't believe in the product, then that's kind of hypocritical and fake, right? Well, this particular executive set it up to be able to get a fake shot, get a saline shot. Not surprising, right? Or we go over to California. We have Governor Newsom in numerous situations. He's out mid full-blown pandemic, no mask. We have Nancy Pelosi. She gets, caught in the beauty shop when the beauty shops are supposed to be closed down, also with no mask, right? And I feel sorry for that, because if you guys remember, during that time, a lot of businesses were told to shut down. The expectation was that I don't know that all the males were supposed to go to Walmart, go to Sally's, go buy some clippers and just figure it out. All the women were supposed to do some unlicensed hair doing, which they were doing, and they've been doing all along. But that's besides the point. All these people were told that you can't have your business open and you need to figure it out. Meanwhile, a lot of these politicians, they not only were soliciting businesses, but they were coming in through the back door or whatever, and they didn't even have their mask on. I mean, where does the hypocrisy stop? So that brings me to an important point. Okay. Is there an agenda to destroy America? Because, for those of you who don't know, America, for all of the flaws that she has, America has been known as the land of opportunity. America has been known as the place where you can come, with pennies in your pocket, and you can go out and make some money. You can go out and make it happen. People were trying to come to America from all over the world. People were, coming through, through New York. We have the Statue of Liberty. It says, bring your huddled masses, and so on. And, a lot of people, they thought that, hey, let's go over to America and, let's get an opportunity, because the places where we live may not be the best. The government's either corrupt, or the economy's failing, or whatever's going on, whatever the reason is for leaving. They wanted to come to America. There were rumors that America's streets were paved with gold. With gold. I mean, That's amazing. Wasn't true, but it was definitely amazing to sit there and think about that. Because if you could just, imagine, just think of a place that you never traveled to overseas. So for example, right now, Dubai, I haven't been there. I've seen movies about it. I've seen, I've heard people talk about it. I even know an architect who designed some buildings over there, and I heard it is nice. It's lovely. I heard there's a lot of I heard there's some buildings that have gold in the walls. I don't know if that's true or not because I haven't been to Dubai, but I want to go there. So imagine if we go back to the end of the 80s or going into the 1900s, there are people trying to get to America because post World War One, well, actually before that, there was a lot of prosperity that was going on. Now, of course, we ended up hitting the depression, the Great Depression, as we call it. And I don't even know if we could really call it the Great Depression for so long. It was definitely the Great Depression. Don't get me wrong. Don't any fact checkers or anyone come on there and say William A. Thomas said that it wasn't a Great Depression. But just follow me right now. What I'm saying is that the stuff going on right now, things can get pretty ugly. Okay. And it looks like that's where we're going. And here are the reasons that we're being given. We're being given the reasons saying that price gouging have gone on. And we're told that, Putin and his war are what's causing everything. But let's do a brief history lesson. Let's travel back to, 2020 and in March. Dr. Fauci, actually at the end of February, Dr. Fauci, he did a press conference and he said that what we're going to do is we're going to do this shutdown nationwide. And what we're going to do is for 2 weeks, we're going to do this and we're going to deal with the virus from there. So everybody, said, all right, well, I can do that. We can do with 2 weeks. So 2 weeks, it was crazy. Before that, people were shopping like crazy, stocking up. People were buying beans, all of these things. People were buying milk. People were buying toilet paper. Y'all remember there was a toilet paper shortage? Toilet paper getting? Yeah, there was a real life toilet paper shortage that was going on. And I mean, that's fine. A lot of times people panic and they end up doing those type of things. I've seen situations where storms are coming, everybody's buying batteries, toilet papers, and milk. But whatever the case, so, back to 2020, we're there, and Fauci says that for 2 weeks, we are going to shut everything down. No travel or anything except for essential things, like if you need to go shopping or, whatever. But other than that, stay in the house because we're trying to stop the virus. They might have said, stop the spread. They might have said, stop the curve, whatever it was. But 2 weeks was all it was supposed to take. So 2 weeks come and go, right? Y'all remember this? And what happened? Yep, exactly. 2 weeks come and go. And towards the end of the 2 weeks, they say, we're going to just extend it another 2 weeks. Now, let me just share something with you guys. I work in sales, and there's a process. They always say that, a lot of times the sale is not always on the first sale. You got to expose people, right? And then you got to get them involved, whether involvement is other exposure. So, the first time you may see Michael Jordan They might say you know you need to invest in Michael Jordan, or need to get these shoes or the Gatorade. And then the next thing you know, you see him on the McDonald's promotion commercial. You see him on the Like Mike, just like to be like Mike commercial. So they're getting you involved with Michael Jordan along the way. But the next thing is the upgrade. The upgrade is that you need to go to the store to get those Jordans that cost over $100 at the time. Now I know that right now, you know, you can get, you know, you could pay $100 probably for some New Balances, but at that time, $100 was a lot for some shoes. I remember when I was going to the shoe store, I had a $40 limit, you know, and I didn't know what shoes were cool or not. You know, I just picked some and figure if I'm lucky, I won't get ripped on at school. But whatever the case, you know, they would get you involved, and then they would have you upgrade to the next step, which is to buy the Jordans. So that's what they were doing during the pandemic, right? They would say, all right, we're going to just do 2 weeks, because do you know what would have happened if in the beginning they said, you know what, America, we're going to shut down for like a year? There would have been riots in the street. There would have been riots down at Pennsylvania Avenue. They would have been mad at Trump. They would have been mad at, you know, every governor. They would have been mad at everybody, down to the mayor. The dog catcher would have had people probably outside his house. But whatever the case, you know, they kept you involved. They never told you the truth up front. They always just said, you know, just 2 more weeks, and that'll be it. So it was a lie. And then the next thing that they did was they said, all right, well, we don't want people to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to pay people to not work. Because a lot of people are forgetting this. This is for all you people that are saying this is the result of price gouging. Because a lot of people have obviously not taken an economics class. So that's why we're going to just go right on through this. So they said, we're going to pay people to not, go to work. Now, for those who don't know, listen, the government does not own anything. The government doesn't have any money. We're in the United States of America. This is we the people. So when the government says that we are going to pay you, all that means is either you are going to pay you or you are going to pay someone else. One or the other. Because the government doesn't have anything. The money comes from the taxpayers. Some of it comes from the taxpayers. The other money, the funny money, is what we're going to call it, is when they just, wave a magic wand and say, alakazam, there's money. And they just turn this paper into money somehow. They just print it out of nowhere because we're not on the gold standard anymore. So they can just print the money. And every time they print that money, the money becomes less valuable. So if you could remember, for some of you who grew up in the 60s, how much was it to be able to buy a car? A new car. We'll go with a Cadillac. Cadillac was pretty popular in America. How much was it to buy a new car? A new Cadillac. Okay, I'm seeing 5,000. I'm seeing 6,000. So, all right, we're going to just go with 5,000. I don't have it. Don't fact check me. Well, do fact check me, but I'm gonna just go with that one. $5,000 to buy a car. So if you got that car and they put you through car payments, right? Then a $5,000, car payment over the course of, let me do a little bit of math. I'm cheating. I'm using a calculator because I haven't been forced to, think about it, too long. But over the course of 5 years, that's $1,000. Over the course of 12 months without interest, we're going to just forget the interest for a little bit. That's $83, right? With interest, because what they do is they hit you for the most interest up front, and they get you in the back. I ain't going to get into amateurization, however you say it. But let's just say they average it out to $100 a month. Who wouldn't want to have a car payment for $100 a month for a brand new car today? $100, you can barely get a tank of gas now, right? I went to go fill up my truck. $105 is how much it was. I think it's about 22 gallons, whatever the case. But needless to say, that was enough to be able to do a car payment. Who remembers just putting $20 in the tank? It was a great time. So that $20 would be able to ride you for the week. Now, $20 will be able to get you to the grocery store, so you could go in there and spend $200 on your grocery bill and come out with like 7 things. This is today's America. So anyway, back to our horror story, which was real life in the pandemic. So they keep on extending the lockdown. They say that they're going to pay you to stay home because they put together a bill, which in addition to that, they say we're going to give everybody $1,200 checks, right? And to which, okay, a lot of people say, well, you never criticize President Trump. Let me tell you something. That's one of the biggest things that I criticize him about all the time. On the spending, because he wrote a book about this before. It's called Why We Want You to Get Rich. Him and Robert Kiyosaki. Look it up, check it out. They talked about how government spending is going to cause a massive flow of inflation, and it's going to separate the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer and the middle class dwindling. They talked about it. It was over, that book's like 12 years old. Check it out. So I'm saying he knew this. And in the process of it, he said, not only am I going to sign on to it, I'm going to put my name on it. Now, I get what was going on. It was an election year. The virus, which, came from China, which was, funded by some organizations that Fauci was involved in, right? The virus was going on, and he was in the middle of an election year. And I guess his rationale was that, hey, if we get money to the people, they'll vote for me. That's what politicians do, right? But there was never just a 1,200. Never just a 1,200. People talk about, I don't want to hear about $1,200 checks. It wasn't just the 1,200. It was that. It was paying people to stay home, which a lot of people were scamming the system. There was the PPP. The PPP player. Speaking of player, Hunter Biden, one of his strippers that he used, she had got a PPP loan under artistry. She is an artist, as a sole proprietor. But that's besides the point. But, the PPP loans, a lot of people were doing fraudulent stuff with that. Some organizations were taking it that didn't need it. Some organizations that needed it couldn't get it, right? So that was a cost. All of that was part of the, things that ended up devaluing our dollar. So we fast forward a little bit more, right? Remember all the people who were working, the nurses, the bus drivers, and stuff like that, the teachers, they were all the essential workers. They were the heroes. They were like Batman. They're like, yay, essential workers, nurses, we love y'all. Y'all's our heroes. Remember, they said all heroes don't wear capes. Remember, they would have the little banners that say heroes work here, right? Well, if history says that, if you're a hero long enough, you become the villain, because that's what ended up happening. Whenever the vacation was, introduced, right? Which I can't fault Trump on that. I know that some people do. Some people are, upset with him for supporting that. I think that he probably really thought that it was going to work the way that they have worked in the past, and that it would really be something that would help. That's what I think that he probably thought. So he goes into, Operation Warp Speed. We're going to get out there fast and so on. Meanwhile, he ends up not winning the election, or as some would say, well, what happened. I'm not going to say it on here because I don't want us to get flagged, and I'm running solo tonight. I don't want LeBron J, to be like, man, why did you say that? But whatever the case, what if you know, if put a thumbs up in the comments if you know what happened. So anyway, that happens, and we have Joe Biden coming in, right? So Joe Biden comes in on day one. He says, we're going to stop this Keystone Pipeline, okay? Which, no, it wasn't completed, but what happened was it got rid of a lot of jobs, as well as it inhibited our ability to be able to be self-reliant and going on in the future being now. He ended up stopping drilling on federal lands. He ended up canceling these leases. He ended up having a lot of regulations for the oil companies to be able to do drilling. All of this happened, right? In addition to that, so basically what Joe Biden has done, right? Because a lot of people say that presidents don't affect the price of gas. And I'll say that there's a grain of truth in that. There's no president's going to say, like, hey, you got to, start lowering the price of gas, or you got to start pumping more oil, so gas can get lower, because Joe Biden already said that to the Saudis. And they said, screw you, basically. They said, screw you. Because you were just talking so bad, Joe. Now you want to come back to us? So that ended up happening. But in addition to that, right? And I noticed that the link's not coming up on Facebook. If you're trying to get on the show, you'll have to go over to the YouTube, go to the comments, and click on the link there to be able to come on. I don't know what's going on with the comments. I'll have to fix that at a later time. But I heard a case, Joe was talking bad to them Saudis. He said, we're going to make you a pariah. We don't need y'all. And then them gas prices started going. He's like, I was just playing, y'all. Y'all know I was just playing. I love y'all. Come on, my man. They was like, we don't think your jokes are funny, Joe Biden. Sorry, that's my terrible Saudi Arabia accent. Oh man, I probably should have did that. But they didn't think it was funny. So they said, well, you need to figure that out because the gas prices, if you ever seen that graphic, there's a graphic where they show gas prices through Trump's presidency and gas prices through the Biden presidency so far. Trump, he came in, it was like I think 230 something, and it ended off lower. And Biden, he came in at it was 2 something, and it's just going, up high. He's breaking records up in here. So whatever the case, that ended up happening. Gas is going up. We had the botched Afghanistan thing. See, a lot of y'all forget a lot of this stuff. That happened. In the U.S., back to the U.S., okay? Over in California, we're dealing with supply chain problems because we had a bunch of boats sitting in the sea and can't get items in. They were just talking about Christmas, and Christmas is going to be rough. It wasn't just about Christmas. Whenever all those boats were sitting there, the governor of California could have done regulations to be able to make it easier. But meanwhile, he didn't. Because what the left does, right, is that they always want to have things a certain way. They always want to make it as hard as possible to be able to get things done fast. Even with with the shooting that happened in Texas in Uvalde, there were what should have been bipartisan recommendations saying, hey, let's secure the schools, let's get these state-of-the-art systems in the schools, let's get more resource officers, things like that, and we'll figure all the stuff later. They said, we're not doing that. We just want it this way. We want gun reform and so on, and then we'll talk about the other stuff later. They don't really want solutions because the starting place should be what are the things that everyone agrees on. So when we were in the midst of the pandemic, right, or not even that part in the beginning, Joe Biden's presidency, remember, he shut down the pipeline. He made it harder for the gas leases. In addition to that, he's beefing with the Saudis, all those different things. The next thing they do is they're saying, all right, we're going to do a vacation. Y'all almost got me there. A vacation mandate. And if people in a company that has over 100 employees and meets all these parameters don't get it, they can't work there or the company's going to get fined every day. So a lot of companies were saying, all right, well, we're mandating this. You have to get the vacation. So a lot of people quit their jobs or lost their jobs. Some of them ended up getting a vacation. Some of them have some side effects that they're not necessarily appreciative of. Some of them aren't even here, if we're being honest. And it's a shame because medical professionals aren't being honest and speaking about it. Some of them because they're part of the agenda. Some of them because they're scared they're going to lose their job if they speak up on this stuff. So we had a work shortage because a lot of people lost their job. Now let's go to the other jobs, right? Because there's work shortages everywhere. Well, when you kind of get in a position where you're getting paid to stay home, you can kind of get comfortable with that position. So a lot of people just figure like, hey, I'm going to stay on these benefits for a while. Now they ended up cutting them, right? What are these people doing? I don't know. I'd imagine some of them are saying like, hey, well, I'm not going back to a job. I'm going to, Uber or do food delivery or, whatever it is. So meanwhile, the restaurants they're empty. A lot of restaurants are shutting down. So what we're reaping is the consequences of a year and a half to 2 years of bad leftist policies. Bad policies. These policies are why we are in the situation now. So while let me make sure I didn't miss anything. So we got the shutdowns, we got the businesses firing essential workers, legislation that reduces our energy independence. We have the goods that are just sitting in California. Not to mention, now I don't know if this is coordinated or not, but there have been a lot of fires at different food places. We also had a shutdown of a big baby formula company, to which they told them that, hey, shutting us down this long is going to end up having a huge effect, to which they said, oh, later on, we didn't know that, but they told you. Because that's what happens on the left. A lot of times when you're dealing with someone who has a leftist way of thinking, right? You can tell them the facts and they'll just not listen. It's like on that Mad TV skit where the one like la 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 la, they just don't listen. There's people on the right that don't listen also, a lot of times. So don't think that I'm saying that it's just a left thing, but it's more on the left, because if anyone who has this much, who has taken macroeconomics, right? Just macroeconomics, you should know why this stuff is going on, and you wouldn't fall for the trick of price gouging. I mean, that's just like the stupidest excuse that I've ever heard. Price gouging. There's this meme that's been passed around, okay? In fact, what I'm gonna do is let me just put this on the screen so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Okay, 1 second. As we gonna do this. There's that. And where are you? Window. All right. There we go. So I'm gonna just put this on the screen. Kind of give you guys a quick visual. So there's a meme that's being passed around that says Exxon, I think Chevron, and what's the other company? Someone help me out here, because I've been seeing it all day. In fact, let me just look it up. Top, because I'm going to kill this myth right here live. Conco. $46 billion in profits for 2021, right? So that's what they said, 46 billion in profits. So what we're going to do is we're going to just do a little bit of math here. This is between the three companies. Now, I know that they're not the only, they're not the only gasoline companies, oil companies, but we're going to just go with them. I think I need a couple more zeros. All right, that's 46 billion, right? And I'm gonna do a little bit of cheating here. I'm gonna go back and forth between the I'm using my calculator basically. All right, let's do this. 46 billion in profits, right? And they are price gouging between these three companies. Basically 15 billion in on average profits per company. So What we're going to do is we're going to divide that by 50 states, right? And that's going to come up to, give me 1 second, 920. Actually, let's do it this way. Now, here's the thing. I know that these numbers are not, exact, okay? Because there are two things that we have to keep in mind. One, these companies don't just um, do gas in the United States, right? Two, they're not the only providers and that sell gas in the United States. So I know that, but I'm just using this graphic to give you guys an idea. So there are in the United States roughly 145,000, probably a little bit more gas stations. So that equals 317,241 in profits per gas station. Stay with me. Oops. Never had a gas station. Yes, I did. After I ate that Taco Bell burrito. All right. So 46 billion in profits, 145,000 gas stations in the United States, 317,241 earned per gas station per year, right? So what we're going to do is okay, 1 second. So all right, there we go. We're going to divide that 317, and you could do it on your own calculator. If you're a mental math person, then do that. But we're going to divide it by 365 days per year. So assuming that the profits are gotten, these gas stations are getting $869 per day per gas station. So here's where this is actually going to look very crazy, because once again, it's price gouging, right? How many people do you think come to your average gas station? People are, coming to, because whenever people come, right, the average person is probably getting, we'll say 10 gallons of gas. And that 10 gallons, let me just put that there. So once again, they're making on average $869 per gas station, per day, which is actually, it's a terrible but a great investment. It's terrible in the sense that they had to put up a whole lot more money to be able to pull this type of profit. It's good in the sense that, well, if you have a whole lot of gas stations, then you'll be able to, get that. But the truth is that if this was houses, that wouldn't be so great. This represents a 4 to 5% margin. Now, I'm assuming a lot of stuff. Keep in mind, these numbers aren't going to be accurate because, number one, there are a lot more gas stations. Two, these companies don't just service the United States. They operate in different countries. So these profits are actually going to be a whole lot lower than what you're seeing right now. But I just want to, put that on there because a lot of people aren't doing simple math. This is simple. So just keep that in mind. Also, when you have profits, you're supposed to, be investing some of them if you want your business to be able to grow. So they have to do that. People were saying they were doing a buyback. Of course, they were doing a buyback. That's investing in the business. I think the other thing is that most people are not entrepreneurs, so they don't understand how business works. But for anyone who is in business and is successful in business, these numbers should, paint a story. And like I said, those weren't even the most accurate of numbers because these gas stations are around the world and there are other, competitors. So just keep that in mind. But so there is a concerted effort, right? The president does not directly control the gas prices, but the president can implement and sign policies that end up affecting the gas prices. Because just like Joe Biden had said, he said the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, he's in charge of the gas prices. So it's not the American president that's in charge. It's the Russian president, which at that point you can see the hypocrisy because they're basically saying that one can control it and the other cannot. So keep that in mind the next time, your layman's non-economic skills friend wants to say, oh man, they're price gouging. And the same thing goes for businesses. Everything's based off of supply and demand. A lot of people don't understand that. I was upset. I went into the store. I went to go buy some bottled water, and the price of the water was double. Like the water that's been like $2.80 is $4.63 right now for the cheap Sam's Club water. It's like almost double. But the problem is that they're probably low on supply and the demand is probably about the same, but they're low on supply. So to keep all of the water from just being purchased by a small amount of people, they have to raise the price. By them raising the price, they are actually looking out for you. The other thing is that the price has to be raised because they are raising the wages. They're raising the wages because they're trying to attract workers. They're trying to attract workers because a lot of people don't want to work. In addition, a lot of baby boomers they said, hey, forget this, which I can understand. And they ended up retiring. So there's a full-on agenda to destroy America. The things I mentioned are some of the things. Now, another thing, and I'm going to just move on to the next time. It's related, right? Is that they are trying to, there was an assassination attempt on Justice Kavanaugh. So let me just share this real quick. This is from the New York Post. Okay, 1 second. Just pull that up there. Okay, quick advertisement. I know a lot of y'all watching the game right now. Pocket watching. Steph Curry. The Warriors are going to win. So I can save you time. Turn the game off. Just know the Warriors are going to win. So whatever the case, the suspect's name was Nicholas Roski. He was arrested. And just look at this. So it says, an armed California man. Can you guys see this? Actually, let me just make it a little bit bigger. Give y'all the full screen. That way. There we go. All right. So, an armed California man who was upset about the leaked Supreme Court draft opinion for Roe v. Wade. And I told y'all, we told y'all this was going to happen. When they put it out there, they were putting that out there, whoever leaked it, to try to, make everybody, upset, try to, stir up some division. And what they're doing is that they're putting out like continuous trauma, different things, whether it's whether it's race stuff, whether it's stuff regarding gun violence. You notice that they're saying there's a mass shooting every day. There have been mass shootings because the definition of a mass shooting being 4 or more people getting shot. Well, that's been going on for a long time. So now what's going on is they're starting to report it. Now, I do think that there may be an increase because I think that evil is, going on, is increasing in the world. People have lost their morals. In in the 60s, you might not have locked your door to your house. But as people got more and more evil, and I would attribute it to turning away from God, but as more people got evil and lack morals, now you have to lock your door at night. Now you can't leave your car keys in your car. Anyone watching used to leave their car keys in their car? I'm just putting my hand up saying, well, you guys can't see me. I put my hands up like I did. I'm lying. I never did that. My car would have been gone. If you were in California, your car would have got chopped up. But whatever the case, so Nicholas John Roski, and you guys saw the picture of him, right? He let me see if I think it's down here. Look at him. This is the guy that, if the mom was telling the story, and I'm interested to see some of her comments, because a lot of these moms, they end up, my baby would never do that. He's such a sweet boy, and this and that. She looked like one of the moms that would say that. Dad over there with the fake smile, like, man, I can't wait till this mother effer move out or whatever. But whatever the case, he was arrested by the Montgomery County Police Department at 1:50 a.m. near Kavanaugh's house, and was charged later in Maryland federal court with attempting to kill or kidnap a U.S. judge. Roski, who was dressed in black clothing and carrying a backpack and a suitcase, was spotted. He came all the way from California, spotted getting out of a cab in front of Kavanaugh's house around 1:05 a.m. by 2 deputy U.S. Marshals who were stationed outside the residence. When he saw the Marshals who were standing next to their parked vehicle, he walked down the block. Now, this isn't funny in the sense that Justice Kavanaugh could have lost his life. That part's not funny. But this is funny. This guy, he called 911 on himself, told the operators he was having suicidal thoughts, had a firearm on him, and wanted to kill Kavanaugh. Now, this is a result of the crazy social justice narratives that have been put out there. Because this is a guy. What does Roe v. Wade have to do with him? He is a man, right? By definition, is it still good to call him a man? He is a man, right? Right. So, even though there's an argument against abortion, there's an argument in regards to it being murder and so on. Let's get out the way of that. What does that have to do with him? Is it affecting his mom? No. His mom's old. She's not having any more kids. Is it affecting him? Even, listen, I don't care what they tell you. Even if he decided to call himself a woman, he can't have a baby. So, what does that have to do with him? But what ends up happening is the leftist media, they put this stuff out, these narratives. You guys heard about the MK Ultra and all those different things, the brainwashing and all that was going on. That's what's happening now. The leftist media, what they're doing is they're continuously drumming up these narratives, and they're doing things that induce trauma. And what will happen is the moment they could just put out a solution or tell you to do something, if you're listening to them, and you'll just do it. It's like Winter Soldier. They like 9, benign, freight train, and I will comply. So that's kind of what's happening with the leftist world, right? They are doing these things to manipulate the minds of their followers to where a lot of them are doing crazy things. Don't believe me? I mean, isn't that what they said was the situation regarding when they thought that the shooter who killed the people in Buffalo, when they thought he was some type of right-wing guy, turned out he was a left-wing guy? They wanted to blame it on Tucker Carlson. They wanted to blame it on replacement theory and this and that, and automatically it's Tucker Carlson's fault. Well, do you guys remember Chuck Schumer? Do you guys remember when he said that Kavanaugh is going to have to pay the price? If we're going by leftist logic, doesn't it mean that Kavanaugh potentially could have had blood on it? I mean, not Kavanaugh, Schumer. Schumer could have potentially had blood on his hands, right? If we're going by the leftist logic, Schumer should be impeached or removed out of office if we're going by the leftist logic. Remember Jen Psaki had said that we support the right to protest outside these justices' home. I could have told you where this was all going. Do you guys remember when there was a bill that was supposed to be put in place to be able to beef up security for the justices, the Supreme Court justices? Well, they say, oh, no, we're not going to do that. Because what the left does is, and I'm going to be fair, the right does it too. But what they're doing is they're saying, we're not getting this thing our way, namely Roe v. Wade, the gun control stuff. We're not getting our way, so we don't care about your lives. You want to know how much they care about lives? Look at any Democrat-run city. Look at the violence going on, and you'll be able to see how much they care about lives, because they're, a lot of their policies don't help. When you're soft on criminals, then it doesn't help. When you're, all these different things that they've done, they've had a history of, running their districts terribly, right? And the only time they want to talk about, they want to talk about every 4 years. So I digress. So he was taken into custody, and when investigators searched his suitcase and backpack, they found a small arsenal, a tactical police vest, tactical knife, pepper spray, zip ties, a Glock 17 pistol, 2 magazines, and ammunition. This guy, he meant business. They found burglary tools, hammer, screwdriver, nail punch, crowbar, a pistol light, duct tape, hiking boots with hiking boots. What was he planning on doing? With padding on the outside of the soles? He was planning on running through them woods That's what he was planning on doing. All over a potential Supreme Court ruling that has nothing to do with him. And I'm gonna just, say this. Let me just turn this off real quick. The left, typically what they'll do is that if they don't get their way, then they're going to try to find a way to make a way. Remember with the Obamacare, they found a way to get around it. Whenever the Supreme Court, they didn't like the fact that there was a majority of conservative justices. They said, we're going to pack the courts. And now it's resorted to the point where they're saying, like, hey, forget packing the courts. We're going to take out some of these justices. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. This is where we are as a country. This is where we are. And it's sad because I love this country. Our country, in my opinion, was better than all others. Yeah, there were a lot of flaws. Yeah, there's a stained history. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are wrong right now. But there's always opportunity. I don't want to hear, the stuff about you can't pull up by your bootstrap. Yeah, yes, you can. This is a boy grew up in the ghetto talking to you guys. Yes, you can. Right now, grew up in the hood, no formal education. I mean, I took a semester or two online a couple years ago, playing around just to kind of, I don't know. I wanted to see what it was like. But whatever the case, no, I don't have a degree. But what I do have is education. And you can educate yourself. Because here's the thing. If you don't educate yourself on the history of things, the full history, then your future is going to end up getting control in the same way that's been going on. Because what they're doing right now is they are destroying all foundations in our country. They're destroying the foundation of family. They're destroying the foundation of identity in the sense that we don't know what a woman is. They're destroying the economy. They're destroying the morals. They're destroying everything. They're destroying religion. They're destroying your ability to be able to speak. They're trying to do all this. And then at the end of the day, after destroying it, they're saying, all right, we're going to protect you, but we're going to have to take those guns. Yeah, most of them aren't saying it right now directly, but that's how they do. Because remember, I said that they expose you to something, they get you involved, and then they upgrade to the next thing. Well, that's what the plan is. Yeah, a little bit of gun reform, chip away here, there. Let's get rid of 9mm, here, there. And then next thing you know, we're like Germany. Learn your history, folks, or you're bound to, repeat it. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys with that thought. And you guys have a good night.